this baby going. Okay, call the order, roll call.
Here.
Yeah. Sailor, Blue. President Mansell, Boz. Martinson. Approve the agenda and approve the May 17th record. Minutes, any questions, discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any nays, opposed? Public comments on the agenda? No comments. Chairman has no comments. Department of Public Works update report.
Full swing of summer work, leaf and brush, and their normal scheduled pickups are going good, things like that. Mowing of the parks, mowing of bike trails, curbs, gutters. The big mower is gonna start its normal, July mowing of the ditches and across the river and things like that we normally mow. The cemetery, obviously with the dry weather, it's burning up and people keep asking, and the sprinkler system and the old part hasn't worked in the last 8 years and it's still not working, and that's just what it's gonna be. So unfortunately, we don't sprinkle the old part and it's gonna dry up, and if it dies, it dies, and the grass will grow back. So we have a water source out there, people to water their flowers. So we've given them the tools to try to keep their things alive. So that's where the cemetery is.
And what was the ballpark cost to do the repair for that segment? Wasn't it like 20, 30?
It's gonna be over 100 because the heavy piece of pipe in the old section is just damaged. And we don't have the water source out there. We have an agreement with Havelvix to use water for the new part, and at this point, that's starting to dry up too. The pond's drying up, so we have just enough to sprinkle that once a week for about an hour a section. Summer projects have started. The 4 alleyways that were scheduled between ARPA money and TIF money have been completed. No issues there. When it was all said and done, we actually had a little bit of extra money to do, so we're going back to the list. And I think we'll be able to get one more done, and that'll be done on worst condition, and also making sure there's 4 or 5 residents. We have some alleyways that maybe only have 1 or 2 residents on it. We have some that have 4 on it in a worse condition, so if we have a chance, we're gonna try to do 1 more alleyway. That's working with scheduling with A1 to make sure we can fit that in. And so those projects went good. Chip sealing and crack filling is gonna start here in the middle of July. Residents will be let know when we'll be coming through their road or their neighborhood to start that event so that they can prepare for that. We're doing some stormwater work over on Market Street on the east side. There's some personal people's drain sub pump lines that go into the road. We're trying to clean them up, put them into proper catch basins so they're not on the road anymore, damaging that. So that project is starting. After the 4th of July, we're gonna start the downtown Market Street project. I've talked to Bone, I've talked to county, just waiting for the concrete loop to make sure everything's on schedule, and after that, we'll send a letter out to the local businesses downtown, letting them know the time frame of that. We're looking at about a 2-week completion from start to finish. And I'll work with the local businesses to make sure they have access into their businesses during the construction time for that. The water and sewer department, no issues there. Last month, you guys okayed the wastewater report. We did our first PFAS testing last quarter. Nothing that came back that was very alarming or anything that could be concerned about. Kyle from the Wood County is looking at. He'll give us a full report, hopefully in August, if we can stop testing or if we need to do 1 more month. So hopefully, with any luck, we can stop testing, but he'll have a better breakdown for us from the DNR here in August on that. The street projects, engineering the 2nd Street project between 2nd, Verbunker and Monroe. They're still in the designing stage, and it looks like everything's on schedule, that we'll have all that design work and rough price and ideas by budget time, which will be in September, of where that street project will run for 2024 budget for that project. And we're also finishing up down on the south side of town, down on Second Street, between Edwards and Morrill, back behind the village office here. We should have those rough prices and everything also by budget time, hopefully in early September, if not early October at the latest. So come budget time, we'll have good idea of what the project's gonna cost in the north end, and then also down here on the south end, if we wanna use TIF money, what we like to do with that, we'll have some projects with some rough ideas for prices on that. Other than that, I don't have any questions unless there's any concerns from you guys.
Ben. Just to, I guess, review or whatever, you said that all the alleyways are done and you're looking at, or you have the funds and maybe the availability to do one or two more?
One more would be yes. We probably have the availability to do one more alleyway between a little bit of ARPA money that is left and some of our streets and roads money.
And you already have that alley picked out, good to go?
Yes, we're between, I know, there's a citizen up there on Jefferson that they called about an alleyway. There's only 2 driveways off one end, and it's not broken down too bad. We have an alleyway down here off Market that has 4 houses, 4 driveways that has some serious breakdown in the middle. So next month, I'll bring you guys before we do it, I'll bring it into you guys for approval, but we'll probably go with, unless you guys think different, we'll probably go with the one that has 4 houses in worse shape. So if that makes sense.
Yep, no, I'm fine with that, as long as, I mean, I think it's great that, I think originally we planned on doing 3 and this will make it 5 or 6.
Yeah, we did, this will be the, yeah, so basically the combination of A1 services, the village crew able to, do the demoing and the bringing the gravel in, we're definitely saving money and able to do some more, so.
Right.
Obviously,
Cool.
totally together, there's 4 more to do throughout the whole town. The biggest one being behind the shopping center, obviously, but that's 3 blocks worth. Everything else right now we're doing is 1 block, so.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Is this about asphalt?
Well, it's about doing, some alleyways.
Yeah, we're just talking about the alleys, so if you want, this would be a good time, we just chatted about potential additional projects. You can, the citizen comment, I would defer here, from back here if you want to address it.
Yeah, without objection, the citizen off the table, citizen comment?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm obviously kind of late.
no worries.
Well, I'm just wondering, cause okay, so we live in Port Edwards, obviously. So I'm wondering, I've talked to Ray quite a bit about this alleyway and whether or not the timeline of when this alleyway will be done.
Yeah,
Cause we are wanting to kind of tie in our driveway with it, which is like horrible, and the alleyway.
Yeah,
So
so
the
we're talking
alleyway
we're talking the alleyway behind the municipal building. Which it's like I said, you walked in, obviously that's basically 3 blocks. This is 3 blocks worth to be divided up, so quite a long alleyway. And again, we look at it as primary driveways and garages. I understand, you obviously, you have an entrance off of First Street as your primary,
Mhm.
you have a horseshoe driveway that comes back. And then there's the 3 other houses, actually 2, blue house and the yellow one, because of one here that's on this side actually has a driveway off of Morrill.
Mm.
So when we consider, we try to look at how many people are gonna use that piece of blacktop when we resurface it? If we have 4 driveways, 5 driveways, what we have, so. When it comes to the list of it, obviously we're passing this one down a little farther. It's definitely on the radar, obviously we had a hole back here, we patched it, I mean, we are maintaining it, but it's.
So like the apartment uses so like that's,
The back area.
But they don't have a garage off and out, they tore it down, so realistically, most of those people park
Yeah.
on First Street.
oh, well, I don't know how many people live in there, but their little parking lot. They park on.
I think for clarification, we started a discussion here 2+ years ago when one of our TIF projects specifically says Port Center alleyway. Marketplace alleyway. It's an actual TIF project. And there should be TIF money assigned to that, but based on that, and then what we thought we would do downtown, we included that in future discussions with Ben. It's a larger project because there's a lot of infrastructure back here compared to our other alleyways. There's water lines and so on. So if we just slap new asphalt on there, it could be 2-3 years from now, we're gonna tear it all back up to get to the underlying stuff. So we really need to just get an idea from the board, if there's any, from this committee to the board, if there's any appetite to address either in total or in segments and put some new surfacing on there. And solely in this discussion was you were wanting to not get a free section.
No,
The question has always been, when you guys do it, can I work with the contractor to do our portion?
exactly.
And since they're already here, so it's really a sidebar discussion when it comes to this, but it's for us, this discussion is this on our radar anytime in the near future, so.
Because I wanna figure out, our driveway is in like horrible shape.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't mind buying that section, like it mentioned to you
Yep.
from Shane, and then just doing this driveway.
Sure.
But I don't wanna,
Well, and it's definitely on the radar. We do want to replace it. And I think, if we had the structure underneath, how far is the water line go all the way through the whole alleyway back there?
So this will be tied, when I said a TIF project, I have the blueprints for Second Street all the way from Edwards, this would tie this all together. So when we basically get the final numbers in September on the TIF project, we want to start at Edwards and run all the way up Second Street to the municipal building here. At that point, we would tie all this together, because we're changing the infrastructure here, going all that way. At that point, we would blacktop, east and west. So this would definitely be tied in that project.
Yeah.
Trustee,
Just for clarification, the record, could we have this, lady's, name and address, please?
Cheryl, do you want it right now?
Yeah, I'll get it, you say.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah, but your address, I'm sorry.
331
330.
First Street.
Gotcha.
thank you. Trustee.
Well, because our driveway looks horrible. And I mean, we're trying to aesthetically create a better home/neighborhood. Total sidebar. I don't know. I've never come to these meetings because they're probably very proper, but like Shane's property could also be painted, but I don't know if there's ordinances about that. Anyway, so yeah, we want our property to look better by putting in a better driveway, but at the same time, I don't wanna
Yeah, and it's definitely on the radar. We're gonna get prices here. We should have prices by September. It would probably be something that maybe we would have even considered with a TIF money is to improve this whole downtown area. But there's underlying water lines that need to be replaced. So if we throw blacktop on there this year,
right, you have to
Just
dig it up.
then- so we want to tie it into next year's project.
So you're thinking next year?
We'll have
It all
a
depends on the
better
funds.
idea in October. We're doing this starting, obviously the front of the building comes first, so we're doing this project this summer. And obviously after that's done and completed off the radar, then we'll be able to see where the funds are left to move what next year's projects are gonna be. So that's in September, October, when they start the budgets, they'll have a good idea what we're gonna be able to budget and afford for 2024.
And then that's in fall, the engineering work for this street that's right behind us here, going all the way through to the park area there.
Mhm.
That's what we're talking about. We're getting that engineering work. Once we get that engineering work with the cost, then we'll add the cost of the two wings being this side and that side of the alleyway.
And determine.
That'll be the discussion that the board will have at that time.
Sure.
Yeah.
So determine if you would do the alleyway or not.
Well, we'll add all those costs together because they could all fall under TIF, and then the board got to make a decision if they want to spend that for. Our
Sure.
TIF monies are
Sure.
mill monies.
Sure, okay.
But that's not your, that's not your primary driveway, right? Are you using the horseshoe, or do you normally, your driveway's out first, you normally come first, and then you actually use a horseshoe to come back.
Yeah, we use, First Street.
Fourth Street is your concrete driveway, and then you have a horseshoe that keeps following all the way to the
Oh, no.
alleyway,
Well, no, it's not concrete, it's blacktop
blacktop.
in like really bad condition.
So you wanna replace that piece and you're waiting for us to do ours. You don't wanna
Yeah,
replace it
because-
before we
Right,
do ours,
I don't really want to, but it's like deep. Like,
cause we won't change the grade, just so you're aware, I mean, none of this grade back here can change
yeah, we don't.
because
care.
of doorways, so I mean, if you do pave it up to our existing section, obviously, when we pave brand new, we will pave up to your brand, up to yours, but just remember this alleyway, there's about 22 feet width of blacktop here, we're only gonna pave 15 feet. Our alleyways, we're paving only 15 feet, so
Mhm.
there, you know, this thing is pretty wide blacktop, but we're not gonna replace all the blacktop. Over 22 feet of blacktop for our alleyway, that's not, those, come back to the back behind the buildings or up to the homeowners that own that, and yours would be all the way up to the alleyway, if that doesn't make sense.
I think so, I mean, but
It's just wide
I'd
back
be
there.
paying for it anyway, right? So,
Sure, yeah, you're
Doesn't
paying
matter.
for the connection.
yeah,
Whatever the connection is, you'll come all the way out.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
That
So I hope
distance
that
is.
gives you some answers, as we're looking at, it's on the radar, and with funds, hopefully we'll have it in the budget for next year,
Right,
okay?
but it's a hopefully, so it's still not a.
Well, it's not a guarantee because there's a lot of different projects in
Right.
the village, and we have to look for all the taxpayers. But
Right.
we definitely have your information, and then we've heard your concern, and it's not that we don't wanna do the project, we
I
definitely wanna
totally
do the project,
understand.
it's just the money. And
Absolutely.
hopefully that we'll have the money and the TIP money available,
Totally understand.
but thank you.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Well,
You're welcome to
I'll be
stay
in
for the
touch.
rest of the meeting, or if you wanna.
I'll be in
That's
touch with you, and Roosh, Mr. Roosh should be contacting you. I reached out to him so you can discuss the connections. I'll prod him again.
all right, and I'll just connect with you, I guess, if we decide, I don't know who I talked to, if we decide to do it on our own this year,
Mhm.
I just have to get permits or something or whatever.
You have your contractors, yes, full permitter.
Yeah,
We'll work
Which I
on to
can
make
talk
sure
to
he
you.
gets to
Yeah,
the proper
I can talk,
distance, yep.
yeah, okay.
Okay,
sounds
thank
good.
you.
All right, thanks.
As the
Sorry for
fall-
taking up your
Oh,
time.
no, anytime.
Appreciate you coming by.
As
We're
the
here
fall
for
of the year approaches and we start working on the budgets for the Public Works Committee, an appearance brings your request a little bit to the into view, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's
In the
called,
September time.
let the politicians know that I'm here, what's happening.
Yeah, we care about it. We want it done. But-
Okay,
But I
thank you.
understand your things too. I mean,
Especially this group, we're all older, we forget quick.
that
Thanks, Eric.
sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay,
Number 8. Number 8. So number 8 was, we'll put it on here. It's gonna be a discussion also with parks, but because this is impacting roads, I wanted to, make sure you all are aware of it. Right now, we have a legacy fund for a bike trail that is, not being utilized. It's about 480,000, probably a little bit less, 470. That's sitting in there. That was for the bike trail the legacy gave us. We have another year and a half to execute it, otherwise it gets turned back in. In the discussion with Ben and thinking about, can we get something tangible done? Either later this year, possibly. We have an option. We have an option that we control the filtration road from the gate, the back gate at DMI, all the way out to ERCO. So we control that. So if we wanted to, there's a section that we would have to asphalt, but then we could put a bike lane all the way there. Problem with that is that it goes nowhere. It's just dead ends into a fence. But it shows us to the legacy folks that we're trying to get this done. We may have to ask for an extension. So that was my thoughts there. In that discussion, I did reach out to DMI in my call last week and I said, are you guys able, I know we're working with, Jewel on your design plans for the Riverwalk. And because of the office building fiasco and that type of stuff, would there be any appetite from DMI to get a bike trail basically right down Wisconsin River Drive? The map's in your packet. That goes to the back gate. So we connect from our YMCA bike trail where it ends right there. We turn right on Wisconsin River Drive. We hug the left lane, not on the side of the truck company, the left lane of the of Wisconsin River Drive. We go all the way down the road. The gates get busted open and we go all the way out the back. Then we go down Filtration Road and we connect to ERCO. And what we would do is not only the asphalt section of that shows a new bike trail, we would then add some balusters on the north and south side so no car traffic could go in there. It'd be gated off, but also removable for snow plowing. So we wouldn't worry about that, and we would have to put fencing, 8 foot at least fencing on both sides, so it'd basically be a corridor. We would put fencing on both sides of the street, we would take the entire street length up, and we would basically create a corridor that actually is the bike trail. DMI was very receptive. Dominga, as well as the owner, as well as the operations officer, were on the line, so I got the verbal okay that's acceptable. It doesn't impact our demolition. We just asked that we put a gate, access gate, and that's what you see in that graphic. That little blue area midway down there. So there'd be a 10-foot, let's say 20-foot gates on both sides that would give their trucks access back and forth for the demolition. But other than that, it's a static fence. It answers the legacy issue that we have at Bike Trail. We did it as best we can near the river. And it still leaves us about $200,000 in the legacy account, that if there's a future plan to move a portion of this along the river, the village has the money to do. So I offer that up for any discussion here before we take this to Public Work or Parks and Rec. And all we are working on right now is getting hard quotes from the asphalt, as well as so the numbers there is just a swag from the fencing company.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, I guess, the only thing I have with it is, and I brought this up, and maybe you can tell me more with DMI, their cleanup plan. I mean, I hate to spend that kind of money. I know it's money that's there for that. And have people bike through a tunnel and look at debris of an old mill.
Yep.
And railroad tracks on the other side. It's, I mean, I don't know if you'd put fencing where you'd put things where you can't see. I mean, that's, if you've been back there, it's, you know what it looks like.
And a great point. As for the demolition plan, it doesn't impact, the fencing would not impact it based on what they presented to me. I'll be honest, I think it pokes the bear of them that now their interior is open to viewing. And we can put part of the stipulation is that we will do this as a village for $150K. It's not off of your back, but we need that back area either waiting on the demolition or to start the cleanup and start pushing that stuff in the pile. The building's not gonna change until they come down.
Right.
But I agree with you, there's all that back lot that someone needs to get a bulldozer, just pile that stuff up for removal. And I'll have a talk to them tomorrow. I can add that as a criteria that you guys are good with the trail. Can you guys handle just cleaning up there, because you're gonna get more visibility. And we're gonna hear about it saying, what's this? Right, great point, yeah.
So in the old mill buildings next to the pond and that, when they're gone, then we're back to the planned route, correct?
Well, it's more than that. It's really until the whole office building debacle is satisfied.
All right. But the planned route.
Oh, yeah, no, that's the plan. That's what Jewel has presented us. Jewel has given us the plans that go the old way right along the river. So they're on the table, they're in the books, already paid for.
And I
but-
still see my buddy standing there on his
The
pedestal.
statue's still there, yes.
They're gonna give us that spot?
Well, they don't own it anymore. County owns it. You need to talk to the county.
Well, yeah. Well, that,
Uh,
I could make a motion there.
Yeah, so I just look at this as it gets a tangible bike trail. And it keeps pressing what we're doing down there.
That planned route is, I mean, you talk $475,000, there's no way that's gonna cover that plan.
No, you're right.
So, I mean, moving forward, somebody's gonna have to come to the table with a lot of money besides
Well,
legacy.
that's very true. I get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But things like that, when, oh God, that much money you talk in 2023, 2024, and then boom, 2027 comes and they got something else built there. You find out, guess it wasn't that much money. You know, that whole thing started out way the hell back 5 years ago when we had our first meetings with those guys. You know, that wasn't my idea. That was the group's idea about a recreational area. You know, we got a nice bike trail system. And would it be nice to have two forks? You go up with tender, or you can go right around down by the river and up to by Erico.
My concerns is that this satisfies as close as possible to the legacy grant. And leaves extra money that worst case scenario, we gotta turn it back in, we turn it back in, but at least we got a bike trail. My concern is if we don't do this, we don't take the MI up, we don't press them right now, this will not happen. And at the end of next year, when we refile a report to legacy, they say, well, wait a minute, turn all the money back in. And then we miss an opportunity there. We used 30K to do our trail here. We did it. Great job. I just think we just need to do our best. We thought about using it to go out to Port Road. It's not in the legacy writing, so I can't use it that way.
Can we use it anywhere else or resurface?
I can use it, that if we do this, then I can use it from the fire department north and do that for resurfacing. So we resurface about a mile and then we do this, and that's the legacy grant. So we can use it there, but I just can't go new trails out to the west, so.
Cause I know it needs resurfacing
Mhm.
from that area.
Yeah.
Any comments, Eric or Betsy? Thoughts?
I don't really have anything at this time.
Betsy? Well, you know,
It coming in, it was coming in.
Betsy, any thoughts?
Not right now, I don't. Sorry, I'm trying to go between my laptop and the phone.
Well, it's kind of in a catch 22. I mean, either we spend the money and do something, or we don't do anything and the money potentially will go back. I guess the only advantage I see of the whole deal is maybe it'll push DMI to clean up the area and the advantage of resurfacing the existing bike trail.
And once we get hard numbers, I've got a hold of American Fencing and Brandon and Roland at Wood County. But within the next, between now and the end of July, they will come down here and walk it with me and give us a better price idea. I mean, this is off the hip price. We have no idea what we're getting into. So, I mean, we can just get some prices from the fencing company and have Roland and Brandon from Wood County give us a blacktop pricing, then we can come back and talk about it also.
Okay, I think it's something we probably need to do, otherwise we'll lose the money. So it'll have to be done in the near future, so, and when are those guys gonna come down to?
They said between now and by the end of July, they'll find a way to get here. I mean, everybody's, fortunately, this is prime work.
Right.
Everybody's busy, so I did talk to Brandon from Wood County and I did talk to Jim at American Fencing. They're both aware of the project. As soon as Ray brought it, we talked about the table, so I mean, they're aware it's on their list to come and quote the project.
Okay, well, let's get some hard numbers on it. It's also going to public,
So our parks next week, yes, sir.
okay. And with the parks and, I guess I see some advantages of doing it, and I hate to. Maybe if you have that conversation with DMI and give some feedback on, what they have to say.
Yeah.
If we can get the ball rolling there, I think that would be.
I mean,
a win of our-
I'll be honest, if you look on your map, everything south of where it says planned route, that parking area, there's a lot of debris there. You know, will it cost us 20, 30 grand to get somebody out there to just bulldoze and push it into a pile? Then we force the cleanup issue. We don't remove it, we just push it all back towards the damn building. And then you just have.
Would you run that by me one more time?
The parking area where it
Yep.
says planned route,
Yep.
if you've been back there, all that is just piles of crap, office
Their
furniture.
pile of crap.
It's their stuff. But part of this, because of the aesthetics of it, we could do the path and then spend 20, 30 grand to just get a bulldozer to push all that stuff out of the way so it's
Why
flat.
do we have to pay for that?
I just throwing it out there as an option to clean the area up. Sometimes you gotta fight horns.
Yeah.
I was
But
gonna
it's-
say, can we first ask them to see if they can do that to help out?
Trying to say that, that might make Joe Moore a little nervous that he has to
No,
spend some money.
they agreed to the corridor, no issues whatsoever. And I'll get that in writing. I sent them this map. They wanted me to know the map. I sent them that. We'll get that as a memorandum saying, do it. Bring back to y'all. I'm trying to address a concern, which I agree with the concern, is that how many times have we asked DMI to open up their wallets to do something for us? Okay, here we have a little money to do that and we force their hand. But I will definitely not use that as a bargaining tool. I
You
will
should
use
have been
that.
here 5, 7 years ago.
Well, I got you. I got you.
Well, have the conversation, and maybe.
Yes.
That would, at least a start.
Yeah.
And then if the motion comes out of Park and Recs, I guess that's up to them and their chairman.
Can I encourage everybody, if you have time during your busy schedule, to give me a call? I do have access through the gates. We can take a ride and you guys can look at it. That way when we're discussing debris and other things, that you have an actual good view of it. So don't be afraid to give me a call and we can take a ride through this where everybody's clear what we're dealing with back there as we talk about debris and Ray talks about the trail, how we're running through there.
I had a bike ride back there years ago.
Okay, more to follow.
Old business, anything old business?
No.
I guess the only old business I would wanna bring up is, I did go with, Mr. Martinson on the other side and we went down Range Street or Golf Course Road that I call it. And I know we talked about this in the past, about either abandon that road or do something, and there's a lot of potholes, and I think, I agree with, Mr. Martinson that, you know, if we take some of the money and maybe do a small stretch again, but we'd probably have to do it in the very near future, because if you go there's the one stretch that they've done, but to the south and north of that, they're both, you know, up the hill. It's rough, and I guess, you know, liability of potholes is either we do something with that road or not do something. We're gonna have to do something, either we patch it, another small patch, and go from there.
15K is what we need, 15, 20K.
Yeah, I mean, last time we did 15K and that got us, you know, about 600-800 feet each way.
About an inch and a half or.
Thin as they could get it on the machine, just enough to go. I mean, we went over there after, me and Lon went over there, we took 15 bags of patch material yesterday morning. 2 guys went over there and did get some of the bigger ones, but, you know, next time it rains, that stuff's gonna be down.
Patch is starting to show its age and it ain't that old.
We can see where we can get
3
15,
years.
20K. Yeah.
But it's better.
Yeah,
than
why
it
don't
was.
we look at that as, have somebody go out there and say, well, we're 15 or 20K get us, you know the stretch, so.
Hey, Lon. I would recommend not sticking $1 into that, because we've went to other municipalities and kind of asked for their cooperation in it, and everybody has said no. So as soon as we close that road down and they start hearing it from other people, then the money will start coming in and they'll be able to do it properly. But I don't think, I mean, $15,000 might not be that much, but it's $15,000 that we could stick somewhere else.
Amen, brother.
That's my 2 cents. Close her down.
2/10 of a mile, they're on Sampson. When they go through that pothole alley, their main thing is to get the pepper to go up to A Street.
Just one clarification though, is if closing the road, is it really closing the road, or is it just abandon it and we don't do anything to the road? I mean, or do we actually?
Yeah, Nick,
You don't wanna close
we would
it.
use the term abandoning the road. It was Nick's recommendation. He did recommend it for liability purposes, though, put some type of barriers north and south.
Mhm.
Now, that's his recommendation.
Mhm.
But otherwise, we would just call it abandoned and it would just be open and people will just drive on it. and-
There's statutes in there that'll protect the village too.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Well, I would suggest that if you haven't had a chance to go over there,
Oh, I was just there today. We've kicked this can down the road for the last 10 or 15 years, and every time we've asked for help on financially, everybody says no. I just talked to one of the Saratoga reps this last weekend. I said, any chance you're gonna possibly write us a check? He's like, absolutely not. Well, you know what? When we close her down or abandon it or whatever term we want to give it, then maybe enough people will complain and maybe they'll come back to the table. So that would be my suggestion.
And I think we'd have to close it off at Z. We can't, cause
oh yeah.
we can't, there is no, it needs to be shut off. And,
Yeah, abandoned and gated.
yeah, and then Rapid, wherever the line is by Rapids, be done with it.
look into what it costs to gate it, I guess, is what I'd like to do, and bringing it to, put it on the agenda for the next month.
I mean.
I'd say we take the gate from the public boat landing and move it right over there.
Okay,
Well, who you're referring to, Eric, kind of like stood in the way of getting that road fixed up years ago. When they started their work over there.
I guess, if we could get a cost on what it would cost to abandon the road for next meeting, put that on the agenda.
All right.
Sound good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe send that to,
And I'd probably work with the county because of signage and things like that, that'll be the people, that'll be our best.
Yeah.
I'll work with the county, Barry and Roland at the county, what the best way is to barricade it and signage that we need, so.
Or maybe before we even go down that route, we just send correspondence to all the neighboring municipalities and say, this is what we're gonna do. And maybe they'll change their minds prior to us sticking money in to put a gate, do whatever. You know,
I think they all should get a copy of the Parks and Rec or the Public Works Committee's agenda for next month then.
Yeah, I could send him an official memo from the village saying, within the next 60 days, we'll be abandoning it and see if we get response.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Any new business? Has anything?
Nothing new, no.
Okay, correspondence received?
I put it under correspondence. This was a directive, from trustee McGregor at the board meeting to discuss our downtown here. Trash receptacles. We spoke to Ben, we walked it out there. There's a little one across the street by the sign.
Current technology.
Yeah, current technology. There's nothing on this side, but the recommendation, if we do anything, is something down here by the park, green space. We would have to figure out what that would be, but we would wait till after all the construction's done, all that stuff's done, and see if we want to put either a static one or put a post in the ground. But to put anything hanging on here or on the sidewalk here, it's just while it may be great now, during the winter with plowing, the way our guys work out there, hanging it on this wall, wouldn't trust it, or these walls here. So I think if anything, we address it, that it's somewhere down there when we have events on the green space. And if you are going to your car and there's trash, and I'll even talk to Fidel, can he put a small trash can in his little alcove there? If that's the concern, that people are walking out with food products.
We got a lot of trash receptacles out there. About every other week, you take a walk down the sidewalk in front of the municipal building, everybody's got soda cans in there and paper garbage. Got a lot of flowers in there too, what the heck?
So that would be our thoughts, based on, Mr. Trustee McGregor's comments.
Sounds like that's taken care of. Agenda items we'll put down about the,
Range line,
yep,
bike trail possibly.
yes, the
road.
bike trail.
And, yeah, we're not gonna have anything new on this, so we're not gonna talk about this street back here
Okay.
based on this discussion. Okay,
Next meeting, July 19th, 4:00. Good for everybody? Okay, with that, we will adjourn the meeting at 4:38.
all right.
all right, have a good night.
Right.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.